What's up? Welcome to the Third Space Podcast. I'm here with my
Ooh.
co-host Ryan Boucher. We are talking about Parkinson's and autism, but how it relates to inclusivity. So what do we mean by that? If you consider yourself somebody who has an inclusive gym, I think you're going to know what we're talking about. Well, you probably don't know what we're talking about. Uh, Inclusivity, especially over the last 4 years, Brian, has been a hot topic. And making sure that your gym is inclusive is a big deal for me, for sure. And I mean that in every sense of the word. I mean that from different colors, different religions, different sexes, all types in between. And I also mean it from what we have at our gym, which is our No Shuffle Club, our Parkinson's and stroke members, and our wellness class, which is like really just our, hey, if I would never step foot in a CrossFit gym, this is a class for you type of place. What is that for you, Brian?
I mean, obviously, this means all make, kind, creed. That is an obvious version of what inclusivity could mean. All of the spectrum of the colors of the rainbow, all of the different gender types. You're welcome. All you need to do is have a kind heart and be into working hard. I mean, that is essentially. Do you want to be part of our club and what we do? Bring your stuff to you as well. There's this interesting sort of juxtaposition between inclusivity, where like if you're for everybody, then you're for no one specific. So it's got to be like a give and take to inclusivity. You can't just be like, oh, so yeah, you're in, but you don't want to do the class. You want to just do bicep curls in the corner. Like that's not the right version of this. What we're talking about is we're doing a thing. We're doing a service and a product. My service and product is health and well-being. I do that through the CrossFit methodology. If you want to do that with me, then I don't actually care what the kind, color, or creed you are. It doesn't matter because you're into the thing that I am trying to provide to you, which is longevity, lifelong fitness, lifelong health, nutritional coaching, mindset work, the holistic version of the CrossFit methodology that you and I just love so much. So it's sort of like there's a yin and a yang to that. It's got to be a combination of do you want to do it and making sure that you have a culture in place in which not just you, the coach, but the entire culture of your affiliate also is down for whomever may walk through the door. Do they greet you when they come through the door? Do they say hello? Or do they just kind of look at you like, I hope somebody goes and talks to that stranger at the kiosk? Is that
Mhm.
inclusivity? Like, are you, because if you're not at that point, in your affiliate where your members already know to meet strangers at the door with a kind hello and a good smile, then like, we've got some work to do. What we're doing here at Midstate CrossFit is pretty brand new for us. Now, we've spent the last 3 or 4 years taking already a pretty okay affiliate. We were pretty okay affiliate. There's lots of pretty okay affiliates out there, and we wanted to level up our coaching. We wanted to level up our customer relations. We wanted to level up our we call it Ohana, our version of togetherness, our tribe of people, and then just do maximum amount of good. For our coast range, you guys talk about being the microcosm of world peace, which means it can't just be Wes being a person for world peace. No, it has to be the thing. The culture is inclusive. The culture understands what the mission statement is, and it takes time and reps to get there. So if you don't mind, I'd love to tell a brief story about the thing that we're talking about today.
Yes, please.
All right, cool. All right, so my wife's cousin has an autistic child who I've known for many years. His name's Adam. Adam is a skinny 5'3", 5'4", autistic boy, nonverbal, but he has a superpower. He can communicate with a letter in number board very efficiently. So he comes through the door. Hey, would you mind if Adam and I come and do a tour of Midstate CrossFit? I think he wants to be a CrossFit. I was like, fuck yeah, Adam wants to be a CrossFitter. Come on in, kid. So Kathy comes in, short little Portuguese woman, just like my wife, brunette, pretty lady. And Adam comes in. I've known him for years, but I've never envisioned him as one of my athletes, right? That's just Adam. He's the cousin that I see at the weddings and the funeral. And he comes through the door and he's nervous and he's bashful, like a puppy that's scared. But he has this, and though in his eyes, he's got the earmuffs on, he's like, that kind of things. The fucking kid can just tap on the board So I take him and his mom around. I do the same tour that I do for anybody, no matter what normal version of you are. I'm not normal. You're not normal. No one's normal. No one knows
That's
what
for
that
sure.
definition is. Yep, nobody knows what that definition is. But I just treated them like normal people. Kindness at the door, smile and greet you. Welcome to Mid-State CrossFit. And he takes this board and he taps, and I'll never forget it. He goes,
Is it like an electronic board?
nope, it is a laminated board that says A through Z and 1 through 10.
Oh, got it. And so you got to follow
Yep.
him.
No, you have to, his mom is like an expert at this, and they
Wow,
communicate, and
cool.
now this kid is nonverbal, the ticks and the he's and the who's, and he
Yeah.
gets scared. He'll get bashful on you. He goes, loving, and the mom is speaking. The mom is speaking to me, through him, the vibes in here. And I just cried. I was just like, that, because if you didn't know, if they hadn't, who knows how much work they've put in to do that,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh, my
Like
God.
unknown
Yeah.
amounts of hours of work. This kid is verbal. He's just using a different language. I am
Oh,
his translator. He's like, and he says things like, I'm trapped in my body, shit like that, like the tear jerking stuff. He's like, and his mom says that when he gets quiet, it's actually because his brain is moving too fast. He's trying to, too much information is coming. There's a cymbals over here and there's a snare drum over there, and somebody's banging with too much reverb on a bass. There's just too much going on. He pulls back and he pulls back in. And so they say, I was like, if you want to personal train with Adam and he's able to do that, I'm down. I'm going to teach him compound movement patterns. I'm going to teach him CrossFit. I'm going to teach him how to run and jump. I'm going to meet him where it's at. It's going to smell and look different, but intensity varies by degree, not kind. And so she then says to me, but I've got this system in place where they have a program called the Regional Center. Ours is called the Central Valley Regional Center because that's where we're from. And they're all over the state of California. And they help manage these people's services from birth to death. Now it's a government, non-government entity thing with service coordinators. And we had to go through this whole long process. It took about 6 to 8 months of us doing. We had to dress up and go for an interview. We had to do background checks. We had to write an entire new business plan based on what Mid-State CrossFit already does, but then present it to this agency, this non-governmental organization that helps facilitate stuff for these people. It doesn't have to just be autism. These individuals are all over the map on needs. It could be very significant genetic things that have happened to them, predisposed dispositions, different mental health issues associated that are very debilitating to them, different IQ issues, and they just help take care of them. But the resources, sometimes it's suspicious. Like, for example, if they get them a toothbrush once a year, that is sufficient for them to stay in the program, but that's not a service. That's
totally.
but that's
It's
how
a handout.
that's how the game gets played sometimes. I'm like, no, I'm a CrossFit coach. I want to teach you how to do CrossFit. I want to teach this.
I'm here to
Yeah.
change your life.
Yeah. So then we created this whole robust plan of bringing in these people with the idea that Adam was our first client. Come to find out, Adam was actually the second person we got in. We got another person, and his name's Charlie, and they came in like bang, bang. But interestingly enough, as we created this system and the service coordinators got a hold of it, we did a few meetings, we did a few interviews, somebody else got wind. And they were like, and they're both, now we've got 4 clients, all of different needs, most of them autism, but not exclusively. It doesn't have to be exclusively autism. And then we've
What
got
else do
2
you guys
more.
have?
We've got a mild schizophrenic, and they're wonderful. They mumble to themselves, to their demons, and I'll show you a video later. And it's just him absolutely crushing rowing and squatting to a target with a nice flat back and heels down, and they're doing great. But these people have not been given the opportunity to do anything. I'll give you another, for example. As we went through these systems, we realized that there was no fitness centers within 45 square miles of us here in Merced County for these individuals that are in this program. That means nobody has wanted to serve them for God knows how long. It's existed forever. This thing, this regional center thing, it's existed in the state of California for a really long time. And they'd go to In Shapes, they'd go to City Fitnesses.
go to the
And
park and
people,
go on a
yeah,
walk and
yeah, people
yeah,
didn't want any part of it. And when you,
yeah,
just like a regular adult,
totally.
if you go into an affiliate, if you go into a regular gym, these people don't know what to do. If you don't know what to do, the average normal, whatever normal means again, then you think these children or young adults or these adults with needs are going to be able to wander around and do free weights and understand all the things? No, they needed a trainer, but nobody ever wanted to take on that responsibility.
Well,
And
yeah, of course.
we were like,
Yeah,
we want this responsibility.
yeah, yeah,
Like, allow me
yeah,
the opportunity to give
yeah, yeah,
these
yeah.
people fitness. So that's what
I
we
think
grew.
that's
That's
the big thing. That's the big thing, I think, is everybody's just terrified they're going to hurt somebody. And they're terrified they're going to get sued. Thank you, a CrossFit RRG. You know what I mean? If you don't have,
yeah.
risk retention group, that's a good thing to get.
We had to get I'll tell you, there's some scariness. Like they were like, hey, we need you to have a sexual assault rider insurance, and then that lets you know that something really bad has happened, and you're like,
Oh man,
because that's
remember
how
all those morning
policy.
chalk up articles of there being like cameras in people's dressing rooms and in their like, and I was
Well,
like, yeah, of course they're going to be a creep, but way to ruin it for everybody.
yeah. So that just lets you know that like you need to know that like these individuals, they have the opportunity to be taken advantage of. And all the regional center is trying to make sure is that like you're not taking advantage not only of government subsidies, but also the individual. And that's so
Yeah,
shitty that we live in a world like that where like
yeah.
you're the microcosm of good. I'm living a lifelong of fitness and health and like all the self-responsibility, advocacy, and mentorship stuff I talk about. And so I know that I'm doing this from my vantage point with these types of individuals, but I want to throw the ball back to you and express to the world the cool things that you're doing that smell similar to this, but you
Hmm.
went a different path.
Yeah, and another story, right? Story time with Adam, story time with Wes. There's people in your life that you care about a lot, and when you see things happening, you jump in to help immediately. It's just the way it is. And we saw that with the CrossFit community recently. Right? And my father-in-law has been that for wellness class that we have at our gym and the No Shuffle Club that we have. So the wellness class started because my dad blew out his knee. It's my father-in-law, and it was just like, hey, it's time to get you in here. Stop, talking about it, and let's start doing it. And just kind of forced him to just come, send him to some classes and start working out. And then because he didn't want to do it by himself, he made his wife and my mother-in-law come, and she started coming, and they would come and complain and love it, but complain and love it, and then they brought a friend, and then they brought a friend, right? And all of them just kind of sat there and complained about it the whole time. And how bad! I have this funny picture of my dad actually. He's got a D ball on the ground, and I'm like, pick it up, and I'm about to take a picture of him, and I do, and he's like, big middle
Yes.
finger at me, but laughing at the same time, and it's like that turned into CrossFit Wellness. And CrossFit Wellness was targeted towards anybody that would never step foot into a CrossFit gym, but it mainly was like 60 and older, 70 and older. And then my father-in-law got diagnosed with the early stages of Parkinson's. And that's when I was like, what did I do wrong? Like, was there something that I didn't do in the
Nope.
wellness class that I could have done better so that this didn't happen? And that kind of beat me up for a little bit, to be honest with you, until I got linked up with a local Parkinson's support group, actually, that would just so happen to be right across from our gym at an old folks' home. And I got in there and got to talk to Glenn and Crystal. And I just did a video today, actually, with Glenn. He's going on a cruise, and we were getting him ready for the cruise. And so we're basically just trying to get basic cues put into his brain to feel some things and then to kind of, teach and coach himself while he's there so he doesn't fall down.
Ah, because of the
And
movement of the boat. I understand.
yeah, that a little bit, but it's just honestly like it's more of all the tripping hazards. Like there's always like a ledge up, a ledge down, to move this way, or somebody coming this way, you're trying to get to the thing, and they don't feel like they have space to be able to move. And when you feel really kind of crowded, it's easy to like try to get somewhere with your hands. And we were teaching him today that he wants to get everywhere with his feet. And so like using his feet to get to where he wants to go so he stays in balance. And anyways, I digress. But it started with Crystal and Glenn, and they bought into it so hard and were willing to listen to this crazy kid that was like, I was just honest with him. I don't know if I can help you. I don't know if this is going to do anything at all. But I do know that we do have data from grandparents doing this in the past and getting great results, right? And you said it earlier, like intensity should be varied by degree, not kind. And that's exactly what I told them is that, like, you guys look to your left and they saw somebody over there deadlifting 315, are not going to need to do that. But you are going to need to pick up your granddaughter. And how much does she weigh? She's about 50 pounds. Okay, well, there's step number one. You are going to need to go to the park with Crystal and take a seat on a bench and then get back up without her helping you, right? And he's like, yep. I'm like, all right, well, there's step number two. And we created a list of what we call independent living tests. So basically, can they get down and get back up without needing a life alert to get back up? It's called a burpee. Can they sit down below parallel and stand back up without anything assisting them there? Can they take something from the ground to their shoulder that's relative to something that they'd have to do in everyday life? And by sticking to those very simple principles, these people went from, we call it the No Shuffle Club, because they went from literally shuffling their way into the gym, falling down constantly. I had to just put mats everywhere in the gym at first. I'm like, mats, here we go. And so I was forced in that moment because of the seriousness of what I had gotten myself into. Now I have this group of 10 people standing in front of me that can't even walk. Some of them
The
can.
squeaking of the sneakers. The full transparency. I've witnessed this class. I have a bunch of videos of this class I'll share for this podcast. And like there's I don't know if you can hear that, but there's a toe
It sounds
or
like a basketball game going on, constantly, basically, like, because they can't get the signal from their brain all the way down to that far of an extremity before it's time to do it again and again and again and again and again.
right.
And everybody's told them that it's because, hey, your brain is dying. So guess what? Get used to it. Everything dies if it sits and doesn't move. And so because of the seriousness of this, I had to go all the way to that part and go, I just got to get them moving. Okay, well, how do I get them moving? And what are they willing to do? Well, walk. Let's teach them how to walk. Well, how do I teach them how to walk? I don't know. Well, okay, how do we teach people how to run? There's the end game. And now work my way back. And what I found was by taking the fault, the way we teach people not to run, which is heel forward strike. So you're driving, you're putting your heel forward, it's putting a brake on forward momentum and pushing you backwards. And I went, that's exactly what I kind of want. I want them to put a brake on forward momentum and to stay balanced. Okay, let's start with that. Hold on to this pole and put your heel in front of you. Good job. Bring it back. Let's do that again. And yesterday we had Louise outside with her husband Frank, who was telling her to slow down, running 100 meters for sprints, 50 meters down, full on running, turning around, 50 meters back, full on running, jumping over platforms that are 12 to 16 inches high. And today, being able to squat unassisted, completely below parallel without the use of anything. He fell down 14 flights of stairs 10 weeks ago, by the way, and broke his C2. And he's back in there because he had, for a year before that happened, been doing CrossFit. Constantly varied, functional movements performed at a relative high intensity for them. And that was the piece that I didn't realize how far down intensity ladder actually went.
I totally agree with you. I'm gonna give you another coaching cue because you named up a bunch. So on Monday, I was trying to get to do a hang double dumbbell hang squat clean. Now he was already gonna PR that day because he had two dumbbells in his hands, which was a 20-pound external load. So I just needed him to sit on that box once and stand up. And it took us a number of cues. Remember, this kid's a nonverbal kid that can get overloaded by too much information. His brain moves too fast. The cue was, with two dumbbells in his hands, I would put my hands in my pockets. I'd say, put your hands in your pockets. And he'd take his dumbbells and he'd bring them down to his hips. And then I'd say, okay, put them on your shoulders. And I would do like that head, shoulders, knees, and toes. And I'd like grab my shoulders. Okay, put it on your shoulders. I'd say, now sit down. And now first his sit down, his knees would be super vagus in. And then eventually I was able to touch. And he got his knees out and his heels were down. And every single rep, for like, I don't know, 50 to 100 reps, because it's never 4 reps. We usually do 4 quality. He put his hands in my pockets, hands on your shoulders, and he'd take his dumbbell. All right, sit down and stand up. But you and his mom, who we no longer need to use the thing because I understand his body language and his little ticks. There's some
Yeah,
language
awesome.
in there. You don't know, you don't know, you don't know. If you hang out with Adam enough, he's got a language of his own,
Yeah,
and it's rudimentary, but it gets the job done. And
yeah,
she's just slack-jawed in the back because not only are we connecting the dots on musculature and building muscles at a very low rate of speed, distant horizons with these individuals, we're getting him to do compound movement and complex motor recruitment patterns. She couldn't believe he could do 4 things as one exercise, which was bring 2 shoulders, sit down, stand up, bring back to pockets.
yeah, right on.
That is a hang squat clean.
Mhm.
Does it look exactly like no, it definitely doesn't. But it smells the same.
Yeah,
It looks correct. His patterns are pretty okay. And so and then once you make that a rewarding a thing for you and them, man, it's really something. So going back to our first portions of the podcast today, inclusivity, challenges, something new, something different. I want you to think back toward your coaching development of yourself and your affiliate. Could you take on one of these clients? Could you take on one of these athletes? Do you have the repertoire, skill set, and understanding of CrossFit methodology, compound movements, core to extremity work, active shoulder? Do you have enough cues in the quiver, verbal, visual, tactile? Do you have enough interpersonal relationship and what's the word that they use? Emotional intelligence to navigate something like this. Because I'm going
mhm.
to let you know right now, between Wes's elderly population in this Parkinson's group at a nursing home and our version of adaptive athletes, there are hundreds of thousands of individuals that are being underserved who
Yeah,
want and need it, their families want and need it, that have probably a propensity for chronic disease and poor nutrition, because what are they likely eating? Simple, highly processed, easy to cook, incredibly not good for them dietary options. Because
yeah,
one of my clients, he works in a group home. I asked him if he could cook chicken. He said no, they have to cook it for me. Now,
mhm,
he's a very capable human being. But how am
yeah,
I when I'm asking him about nutrition, and his caseworker that comes in for the ride laughs because the answer is cookies. How much
yep.
good can you do by just moving him from soda to lemon water?
Oh my God.
And that's so
Yeah, that's a whole nother episode.
but this is the type of advocacy, mentorship, and self responsibility that the affiliates can take on.
Mhm.
And not only will it pay the bills, because I'm talking personal training costs, but it's incredibly rewarding. Holy shit! Watching a
Yeah,
kid that you're like, I don't know if he can run. Like I'm worried about his gait. Very similar to
yeah,
your shuffle club. You're like,
yeah, exactly.
I don't know if they're ever going to run. And then all of
Yeah,
a sudden,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
they start to
yeah,
run. And you're so
yeah.
like, if you take a D1 athlete and you turn them into a that much better D1 athlete, I guess that's cool. But if you literally save someone's life who may have something like Down syndrome or Parkinson's or multiple sclerosis, it's a different feeling.
Oh my God. Yeah, dude. I think about the reason why we don't have more of these around, and it's because there's a severe lack of understanding of how far down the ladder you have to go in order to be a good coach. And what I mean by that is developing knowledge and developing skill. And unless you take the time to develop the knowledge and the skill, you will never feel that you have the confidence to start a class like this, because you won't feel like, number one, you have the credibility to start a class like this. Like, who the hell are you to be able to do this? And then number
Totally fair.
two, you're going to be so nervous about hurting somebody. So how do you get the credibility? Well, you have to do it. But how do you get the confidence to do it? You have to learn about it. Like, how did I know to teach them heel forward? Because I spent so much time in the past learning about how to run properly that I knew how not to run properly. And I was able to apply that knowledge to this specific scenario. And that's when you reach another level of coaching. And not to say that I'm another level of coach or anything. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm trying to say is that you're basically able to take all this mess that is in your head and you're starting to categorize it and make sense of it and put it where it's needed to get the actual outcomes with the people you're working with. And hopefully that is very inclusive. That means that you have everything from the top level games athletes that you have worked with, are working with, or are trying to work with, all the way down to somebody like, I mean, I have worse than the Parkinson's that I have now, right? Like, I technically, if you think about it, like I've had paraplegics in the past. That was one of my first experiences as a coach. Was we had a member at CrossFit Inferno who used to be a sheriff, got shot in the line of duty, and was a paraplegic, waist down. And I was given him by Bill. Bill said, "Here you go, brother. This guy needs to do CrossFit. Have him do CrossFit." And there wasn't the stigma back then that like, oh my God, I'm going to hurt this person. It was like, this is your duty almost. You better not
Yeah.
mess this up. And I remember that weight on me, and I would stay up and study and look things up and research and try things out myself. And I realized you could take the rowers apart. I didn't even know you could do that. And you could put them up against a wall and they can use that for cardio response. And I realized that big blue gymnastics mats that we like to jump and fall on, well, those are great to have him sit on and move around on it. In fact, this is like his like thing. We should have a corner for him over here with this stuff. That was 10 years before I started No Shuffle Club. So I had a 10-year lead up of building all of this knowledge and then feeling like, okay, I'm willing to give this a shot. And even I, at that point, was so scared and nervous to start it. So I completely understand why people aren't just like jumping off of their seats to start this autism class, to start this wellness class, to start this Parkinson's class, because they're terrified that they're going to hurt somebody because they don't know what they're doing. So here's what I'm doing, and here's what I would encourage you to do. What I'm doing is like, I started today taking videos of my Parkinson's class with Glenn, and I'm going to start doing that more often and putting out information on my YouTube of here's where to start, here's where to go, here's this case, here's this case, here's this case. And hopefully that can turn into a forum where coaches are coming and commenting and asking for more and specifically what it is you guys need, because this isn't happening anywhere. Every time I talk to my Parkinson's class, I talk to my wellness class, they go, yeah, you're the only one that's doing this. We can't find anywhere else to go. And so, like Brian said, these regional centers are all over the place. They're all over the state of California. And these people need this. And they have this money there to give you to do this, but they don't
But
know
nobody
where to
wants to do it.
go.
Yeah.
Because they don't know where to go. So, what Brian is doing over at Midstate is he is vetting the program for you right now and figuring
Essentially,
out exactly what needs to be done for each case. Like you mentioned, I'm thinking autism and I can handle that. But then you just said slight schizophrenia. And I went, nope, immediately. But then I went, whoa, slow down, hold on. Like, let's hear about this and let's hear about Brian's experience. And so Brian will be documenting his experience and getting that ready for you guys as well.
so let's because I think that's important.
Yeah,
I
don't
think
let me
that
keep going.
yeah, I think that mental health is it's the boogeyman in the room. And if you've met anybody with bipolar, if you've met anybody with a diagnosed condition, we all just are afraid that they're gonna hurt themselves or hurt others around them, right? That's
And
like,
then that's going to be on you.
yeah, and then that's gonna be on you. So,
Yeah.
but you get to choose as the trainer who you train. The inclusivity doesn't mean that you're for everybody. What it means is that
It doesn't
everybody
mean that
gets a
you're going to put
chance.
yourself or anybody else in an unsafe position.
Right, right. Right. That's a great segue of safety, efficacy, efficiency. Your efficiency of these clients is going to be different than the version of CrossFit that you might sell a 21-year-old. Right? But the version at which you're trying to expound on these people, it's up to you to describe. And from my experience dealing with all sorts of different mental health, both as a paramedic and as within my own family and having a social worker for a father, these people are just people, man. They might not have been able to handle their internal voices or had been maybe exposed to maybe some sort of like toxins or substance abuse that made this thing reveal itself. But the vast majority of people that need our help, that's all they need is they need our help. If you look at a lot of the homelessness that we have here in California, what you're seeing is the end result of no one doing anything for a long period of time. And then that results in homelessness. I'm not saying that it's okay or good that we have the version of homelessness that we have here in the state of California.
Or that there are people out there that are just pieces of crap and are doing that on purpose. Like, yes,
That
that
is
exists
true
as
too.
well.
That is true too. But I would say a large majority of it is
Yeah.
able-bodied people who had a platform in which they could have intervened, didn't, out of fear of the lawyers, out of fear of their own opportunities or capabilities, out of fear of
Just out of fear.
yeah, it's just
Just
straight
out
up.
of fear.
Because
Just straight up
when I
fear.
say, because you go, whoa, that's the
Well,
bad one.
what
But
I
really, it's
think
just
that
going to
I would
be
imagine
audio
others,
visual hallucinations.
yeah, but I think other people are just scared of their safety, right?
Right.
That's it. They're scared of their safety. They're scared of their members' safety. They don't want this person to come into their members,
Go
and know where
nuts.
they are and whatever. Well, who knows? They might just start stalking people. They might start acting real weird, and it's like,
Yeah.
that's why we're so lucky to have people like Brian who are willing to go through these experiences for the greater of the community to see, hey, is this something we can actually replicate around the
We have
world to
already
help
we have
everybody?
already taken our Excel spreadsheet and took the red ink on the row and said this is a no. And you're allowed to do that too, right? We have
Yeah,
already done that, right? So
yeah,
like
totally.
there's a whole system in place, and I'll tell you how we do it a little bit. So for us, there's two forms that have to happen. One, there's a phone call, an email thread that happens between us and service coordinators. There's entire presentations that we've done for all the local ones so they can know what the program feels like. Now that service coordinator has an idea of what we do here at Midstate CrossFit, and then they can pick amongst their caseload about 80 people per service coordinator who makes sense for this thing. Then they have to do an intake form where they basically reveal themselves, the client, possible athlete, all the things. They send an IPP, which is their individual's sort of like a face sheet and their story. And then and that's not a yes. We still are not at a yes. Now we come in and we do an in-person assessment where we feel the vibes of the room. We show them around the facility. We are not exercising. We are just getting vibes. And then we just figure out through that interaction about an hour long, is this a good fit? Then we schedule exercise. We do a CrossFit class. And at any time in the story, we as the trainers, we as the affiliate, we can just say like, this isn't working because for whatever reason. And everybody just agrees that like, that's okay too. And so that's what we're doing. We are taking a ton of documentation out of this. We write down not only about the person, but we have this three box system. Right now we do the overview of the day. We write down what the workout of the day was, and we do observations of the day. Each class forever, for the next foreseeable future, will have those three things that the trainer will write. Classes are anywhere between 30 to 45 minutes long with a 15-minute chill and camaraderie and mentorship moment. So we talk food and them and give them a chance to cool down and feel like somebody cares about them, because even that is lacking in some of these people's lives,
Oh my
sadly
God,
enough.
that's usually the main thing.
Yeah. But that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. I don't want to kick a dead horse about what we're doing here in Midstate, but I did want to tell the general community of CrossFit that like there's some real cool options out there to expand your CrossFit affiliates horizons, and you just have to be willing to put yourself out there and be willing to put in the work that both myself and Wes feel like we have to feel confident to take on such a responsibility. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean?
I mean, if you're going to keep putting all this money into all these certificates, you might as well take on the responsibility as well. I mean, becoming an expert in something in your field and in your locale is really important for the longevity of your professionality within this world. And if you want to make a living and do what you love, these are the ways to do it in an affiliate setting. Is that you have your main gym that is running the lights and the coaches and doing the stuff and maybe making a little extra money. But if you really want to have a career, like setting yourself on a path not necessarily a niche, but something that really lights your fire or has some sort of a personal connection to you. Like Brian has this personal connection with the program he's doing because of his brother-in-law, right, Adam?
No, so Adam is my brother-in-law, but in full transparency, I have a younger half brother, John, and he has Down syndrome. I grew up
And there you
around
go.
people. Yeah,
So
so
it makes total sense why you would want
yeah,
to start this. It is connected to your heart. And for me, it made total sense to want to start my wellness class connected to my father-in-law, who I love so much. And then, same thing again. And then I start making these relationships with other people once we get it started. But you have to find out, like, what is that thing that just lights your fire? And that could be one thing now and different in 5 years and different in 5 years. And that's totally okay too. It's about going down that road of learning as much as you can about that thing so that you become a better coach for those people around you. That's all you are. You're just being in service to others.
how much better of a coach are you going to be if you decide to go down a road of a deep pool, the deep end of a pool of a certain section of fitness or
Mm-hmm.
a population type, and
Mm-hmm.
then how well does that apply to your general population group CrossFit class? I'm going to let you know right now. This is absolutely in odd ways making me a better coach on the floor.
Yeah.
When I've got 20 people, when I got 20 people
100%.
on the floor, I am doing a certain version of myself that is superior than because I'm having these one-on-one interactions with these different population types.
Got it.
100%.
Well, I think it's important for us to wrap this up in a
For
way
sure.
that gives people next steps. Next steps, if you're looking to start a Parkinson's, a stroke, I call it neurodegenerative class, including TBIs as well, or you're looking to start a wellness class for, the older population in your community, hit me up. I am here for you. This is my Instagram at WestPyatt2013. You can also go to, I have a YouTube. It's like West Hyatt, I think, or something like that, where I'm going to be putting
Yeah.
up videos to hopefully be a resource for you guys for free to be able to know what to do on a practical level when you step foot into your first class with this neurodegenerative or wellness group. Brian, what do you got for them?
Same thing. Reach out to me at BoucherB911. Just for context, TBI means traumatic brain injury. And uh, this is thing that we call CrossFit. It's up to us, the affiliate owners, to become experts at taking care of people for the long haul. Where I'm in it for the long game. You as affiliate owners and coaches, trainers, indulge us. Indulge us in reaching out and learning something new. If it's not us, Kevin Ogar is an incredible resource for adaptive athletes. I believe in the not so distant future of Mid-State CrossFit's going to be hosting an adaptive athlete class with Kevin Ogar and his program. But reach out if this is something that fires you up, if you're passionate about something like this as well. We are in the trenches with it. So don't be afraid to slide into the DMs.
Yeah, that's how we end it. All right, guys, take it easy. We'll see you next time.
Bye.